Welcome everyone. We will be talking about sustainable logistics and supply chain management in today's presentation. So essentially everything with supply chain management, we look into what are the best practices and what are the impact of the best practices. How does it makes much of a differences as in sustainable logics is concerned. Understand how do we establish sustainability and in possibly in supply chain, what are the return on investment, how does it benefit, are there any pitfalls thereby or not. First and foremost is the return or reverse logistic. So what does it mean? It means whatever we are sending products from point A to point B, if we are transporting product as a supply chain, now from point B, instead of returning the vehicle, the automobile, the transport, be the aeroplane, be the ship empty, can there be some goods that they can bring back, as in sending return products back to the supply chain for resale, for repair, for reuse, for remanufacture, for reducing the cycle or disposal. So basically, what is it being meant is your vehicle is not going empty. Earlier, it was used to be the vehicle is going for transporting from point A to point B, and then from point B to point A, it returns empty. But in this case, if we can have something called reverse logistic, as in where certain raw materials or certain finished product or certain defective products or certain requests made by the customers are looked into. So sending raw materials is what we are looking out here. So return products, closed loop supply chain, proactive design of supply chain that tries to optimize, in fact, every forwarded and reverse flow. Absolutely yes, preparing for returns prior to the product introduction. So people are aware of it, and how do we go around it? So yes, return or reverse logistic, closed loop supply chain. Now, if we have to manage management of challenges of reverse logistics, what is the issues in forecasting? It's relatively easy, it's extrapolation of what have been happening in the past data. But what in reverse logistic, you never know how much defects will come around. You never know what all things can be returned or probably can be look into the third party payments, third party initiative, wherein the empty vehicles, the empty containers can be filled up by third parties so as to be looking to reduce the carbon footprint. So definitely it depends not only on us but also on the third party, also on the fourth party. So it's very difficult to predict as such. So forecasting is very difficult in reversing logistic, which might not be the case in the forward logistic. Product quality is uniform, definitely yes. It is shipped from your sources. Reverse logistics again not uniform. Now let us think that if it is only a defective product that we are going to return. Now certain product can be 10% defective, certain can be 50% defective, certain can be absolutely defective altogether. We're not aware of it, what exactly is being shipped. Product packaging is again uniform because it is starting from the source itself. Reverse logistic will be often damaged. Pricing is relatively uniform, and reverse logistic may be dependent on a variety of factors, but you are not aware from where it is to be picked up, how it is to be collated, and coordinated efforts is to put in through. So it depends on a lot of factors. Speed is often very important in forward logistic. Reverse logistics, it is a priority cases, mind you. It is on a priority because the product might be under warranties and so on and so forth. Distribution cost is easily visible in forward logistics, which might not be visible at all with reverse logistic. And inventory management is consistent with forward logistics and inconsistent with reverse logistics because you just are not been able to predict the forecasting method or the product quality thereby. So distribution, the inventory management definitely is not very uniform. So let us understand measuring supply chain performances. What exactly are we looking into it? Assets committed to inventory. It's a percentage interested in inventory. What is the percentage interested? Let's say the total inventory investment divided by total assets multiplied by 100. So it gives me a percentage of investment in the inventory in the sense how much capital has been blocked. That is what has been reflected out here. So Home Depot has, let's say, $11.4 billion in inventory, and total asset is $44.4 billion. So what does it mean? The percentage investment, the capital that has to be blocked in around is around 25.7 percentage based on the above criteria of the formula that has been given around it. So yes, remember again, Home Depot has $11.4 billion in inventory. Absolutely, $4 billion is there in your inventory, in your storehouses, in your warehouses, and the total assets remain $44.4. Absolutely, that is the amount of product, amount of inventory that is in circulation. Probably you are doing such kind of movement, sales, and forwarded logistics then and there. So it means that amount of capital that is usually been blocked in inventory, and in inventory it would be around 20%. Look, I'll give you certain exemplary performances by the leading companies. See, in manufacturing, usually the percentage block as of invested in inventory is 15%. But look at what manufacturer like Toyota is doing. It they have approximately 5% only invested of the 5% of the capital being blocked out there. Similarly, for wholesale, it's usually one third, 33, 34 percentage. But Coca-Cola has approximately a minuscule 2.9 percentage. Restaurant McDonald's has approximately 2.9 percentage. They don't keep much of the things in the inventory, definitely yes. But McDonald's, look at it, wow, what a impeccable percentage of 0.05 percentage. Similarly for retail, Home Depot is 28 percentage, but probably in this case it is 25.77 percentage as the retail business is all about it. So let us understand how do we measure inventory turnover. The measuring of inventory turnover is the COGS, or cost of goods sold, divided by total invested in inventory. So inventory investment. So inventory investment is something we can talk about it average of several period. Let's say beginning and plus. So you begin in let's say 2000 and end at 2022. 2000 and 2022, 22 minus 2000 will be 22 years, divided by 2 would be 11, and that's the ending inventory would be all. So from PepsiCo, if you look into it, the net revenue is $32.5 just inclinations, not in terms of million and billion that comes around it. COGS is a cost of goods sold is around $14.2. So inventory, if we can add it up, and the raw material is 0.74 cents, work in progress is 11 cents, finished good inventory is 84 cents. In totality, it adds up into $1.69. So what does it means? It means that inventory turnover would be cost of goods sold is 14.2, and total inventory investment is approximately $1.69. So that becomes at 8.4 times the all about it. Similarly, for an annual inventory turnover of a food and beverage or perhaps retail, look at Anheuser Busch. It has 15, Coca-Cola has 15, Home Depot has 5, McDonald's has 112. Now, these are food and beverage retail things as an inventory turnovers business. I'm just giving you the best practices of the established reputed brand names and companies are concerned. For manufacturing, let's say Dell Computer is 90, Johnson Control is 22, Toyota approximately 13, or Nissan is, as the case might be. So, where we look into it, we are need to finding out where the supplies are all having it out. So, weeks of supplies, inventory investments is the amount of capital that has been blocked, divided by annual cost of goods sold. Annual means the whole year, divided by 52 weeks. So, every week, how much supply is being consumed. So this is from PepsiCo. The investment income is approximately $1.69 billion. The average weekly sold is around 14.2 divided by 52. $14.2 billion divided by 52 weeks. That becomes approximately $0.273 billion. Weeks of supply would be 1.69 divided by 0.263. It is approximately 6.12 weeks. That comes. Benchmarking of the supply chain, comparison with the benchmark firms, you need to understand the consumer packaged good industry, how does it goes around it. Order fill rate, typical in a typical firm is around 71%, but the benchmark firm would be approximately 98 percentage. Order fulfill rate will be 7 days, it will be half in benchmark days. Benchmark firms, it will be 3. Cash to cash cycle will be 100 days. It will be less than a month for a benchmark firms, and inventory days of supply will be 50 for typical firms and 20 for a benchmark firm. And look how sustainable it is all about it, how relevant it is all about it. In case of order fill rate, in case of order fulfillment or lead times, cash to cash cycle, inventory orders, and so on and so forth taken into consideration. So let us understand the supply chain operation relation model that comes around it. We'll talk about the process, we'll talk about the metrics, we'll talk about the best practices. Look what is happening. We first need to plan everything. Planning of right from the inventory types, from the sourcing part, from the raw material types, from the raw resources that we are looking into it, to the work in progress, to the work which is a finished good that we look into it. So we need to identify the sources, select them, manage them, and probably assess them. And then it is all about your operations, right? Managing production, execution, testing, and packaging. Once the product is finished, once the services have been taking shape, you need to deliver it as on when of cases for services. But for product, once you have done with the product, you need to make an invoice, warehouse it, transport it, and probably install it. Now, everything that goes around here, this is the regular supply chain that we are calling about, from sourcing to manufacturing to delivering. But what happens to the reverse logistic is wherein not only come with the feedback, but also probably if there are any sales that have not been completed or any product that is still lying vacant, you need to transport it back to the raw materials, to the factory. So SUR models metrics help the firm to benchmark against anything and everything. Let's say the performance attributes of supply chain reliability. What happens with the sample metric? The order fulfillment takes place, but in calculation, total perfect orders divided by total number of orders altogether. Absolutely. Total perfect orders means there are no returns altogether, and total number of orders will have perfect order plus the returnees. Supply chain responsiveness is average order fulfillment cycle time. It is actually the calculation of sum of actual cycle time for all orders to be delivered divided by total number of orders delivered altogether. Similarly, for supply chain agility is upside supply chain flexibility, time required to achieve unplanned, let's say 20% increase in delivered quantities. What can go wrong, or what is to be expected? Supply chain cost is supply chain management cost, cost to plan, cost to source, cost to deliver, and cost to return. Everything needs to be added up. Again, I repeat: cost to plan, cost to source, cost to deliver, and cost to return. These are all your part and parcel of your supply chain cost. Supply chain asset management is cash to cash cycle. Inventory days of supplies, days of receivable outstanding, days of pay might be. We come to the very last end of the slide presentations altogether. We need to benchmark ourselves with the best in the industry, and then only we'll realize how much of the things needs to be bettered up, how much improvement needs to be there in our operation. Perhaps it may not be adequate. Audit may be necessary, continuing communication, understanding, trust, performance, and obviously as the corporate strategy. It fosters a mutual benefit that we are all in this together. And remember, believe me, supply chain management and sustainability, it goes hand in hand. It becomes much more productive. It becomes much more profitable for the company if we adopt the processes and benchmark ourselves with the best in the company. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the end.